Hey Shell Coyotes, welcome to Topic 7 Review, where we're going to be covering the basics of fractions. Let's start with some vocabulary. Our first word is prime number. A prime number is a number with exactly two factors. It's only divisible by itself and 1. Some examples are 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, and 29. All of these numbers are only divisible by itself and 1. Composite number, number with more than two factors. Some examples of some composite numbers are 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16, and 18. We know that these numbers are composite because they have more than two factors. 4 has 1 and 4, but also 2 times 2 can make 4. 6 has 1 and 6, but also 2 times 3 makes 6, so it has 4 factors. 8 has 1 times 8 and 2 times 4, so it has 4 factors. 9, which is our first odd composite number, has 1 times 9 and 3 times 3, so it has 3 different factors. 10 has 1 times 10 and 2 times 5. You guys can see that all of these have more than 2 factors. If we look back at our prime numbers, the only way to make 2 by multiplying is 1 times 2. 3, 1 times 3. 5, 1 times 5, and so on. All of these numbers are only divisible by itself and 1. And another note is that 2 is the only even prime number that exists, because every other even number after it is also divisible by itself and 1 and 2. Take 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and so on, for example. Numerator and denominator. Numerator and denominator explain our fractions and what the numbers mean. Numerator is the number that goes above the line in a fraction, and denominator is the number that goes below the line in the fraction. In this fraction, 3/8. 8 is the denominator, and 3 is the numerator. 8 tells us how many equal parts there are. There are 8 equal parts. So 3/8 means that we would shade 3 of those 8. This is a model of 3/8. There are 8 equal parts, and 3 of them are shaded. Our next set of words are equivalent fractions, simplest form, and common denominator. Equivalent fractions are fractions that have the same value but may look different. Here's an example of some equivalent fractions. We have 3/8 equals 15/40. I know this is true because 3 times 5 is 15, then 8 times 5 equals 40. If we multiply or divide the numerator and the denominator by the same number, we will always get an equivalent fraction. Simplest form. Simplest form is when a fraction in which the only common factor of the numerator and the denominator is 1. We know that 15/40 is not in simplest form because we can divide the numerator and the denominator by 5. If we were to divide the numerator and the denominator by 5, we would end up with 3/8. 3/8 is in simplest form because there's nothing that we can divide 3 and 8 by to make a smaller fraction. Common denominator. Common denominator is a number that is a multiple of 2 or more numbers, and we will get into an example for that next. Of the cars in a parking lot at school, 1/4 are white and 1/12 are red. What fraction of the cars in simplest form are either white or red? So I'm looking at this question, and I know that I'm going to do 1/4 plus 1/12. I need to find a common denominator so that my fractions are kind of speaking the same language. I know that 12 will work as a common denominator because I can multiply 4 times 3 is 12. So I'm going to make an equivalent fraction for 1/4 using 12 as my denominator. 4 times 3 is 12. 1 times 3 is 3. So 3/12 is equal to 1/4. 1/12 stays the same. Now I can add my numerators. 3 plus 1 is 4. So I get 4/12. 4/12 is not in simplest form. And our question does ask us to put our answer in simplest form. I know I can divide 4 and 12 by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So my answer is 1/3. 1/3 is in simplest form. I cannot divide 1 or 3 by the same number other than 1. So of the cars in the parking lot at school, 1/3 are either white or red. The strip diagram below shows the fractional parts of a pizza eaten by Krista and Alexis. Use the strip diagram below to write an equation representing the total amount of pizza the girls ate. Okay, so when we look at our strip diagram, I can see that one girl ate 1/2 and one girl ate 2/5. We have to add these two fractions together to find the total amount that the girls ate. So an equation for that would be 1/2 plus 2/5. When we add 1/2 plus 2/5, that will tell us how much Alexis and Krista ate. I can't add these right now because they don't have a common denominator. I need to change these fractions, find equivalent fractions that have a common denominator so that I can add. I'm looking at 2 and 5. I know that 10 is a multiple of 2 and is a multiple of 5. So I'm going to change these to tenths. Two times 5 is 10, so 1 times 5 is 5. 5/10 is equal to 1/2. 5 times 2 is 10. 2 times 2 is 4. So 2/5 is equal to 4/10. Now that I have a common denominator, I can add my numerators together. 5 plus 4 is 9. Denominator stays the same. So this is 9/10. So the girls ate 9/10 of the pizza. Roman and Jake are reading the new Diary of a Wimpy Kid book. Roman read 3/5 of the book on Sunday and 1/8 on Monday. Jake read 3/4 of the book over the weekend. How much more did Jake read than Roman? Okay, there's a lot of fractions for us to look at here. I know that Roman read 3/5 and 1/8, and Jake read 3/4. We're supposed to be finding how much more did Jake read than Roman. So I need to add 3/5 plus 1/8 to find out the total amount that Roman read. I need to find a common denominator for 5 and 8. I know 40 is going to be a multiple of 5 and a multiple of 8. 5 times 8 is 40. 3 times 8 is 24. So 24/40ths is equivalent to 3/5. 8 times 5 is 40, and 1 times 5 is 5. So I know that 5/40ths is equivalent to 1/8. Now that I have a common denominator, I can add my numerators together, giving me 29/40ths. This is the amount that Roman read. Now, to find out how much more Jake read, I need to subtract 29/40ths from 3/4. I can't subtract yet because they have different denominators, so I need to find a common denominator. I could multiply my denominators to find a common denominator. That always works, but sometimes that's not the best choice. In this case, I can change 3/4 to 30/40ths to give us a common denominator of 40. I can leave 29/40ths alone. I just multiply my numerator and my denominator by 10 to make an equivalent fraction. 30/40ths is equal to 3/4. Now I can subtract. 30 minus 29 is 1. And 40th, our denominator stays the same. So 1/40th is our answer. So Jake read 1/40th more than Roman.